Hello everyone and welcome to That Film Theory. My name is Jules Gill and I'm here today to talk to you about film theories. I know, pretty obvious given the title of the channel, but I actually want to talk specifically about fan theories for our favourite movies, and basically those ones that not only are quite interesting to look at, but ones that actually make the film better overall when you're doing repeated viewings. Not all of them are created equal. There are some absolute lunatics out there when it comes to our favourite franchises, but these ones, these 8 that make up this list, well, they're so good that you kind of have to ask yourself, my god, are they actually true? With this in mind, I'm Jules, this is That Film Theory, and these are 8 sci-fi fan theories that make the films better. Number 8, Agent Smith is the one, the Matrix. Okay, just hear me out for a second. I know that Neo is basically always confirmed to be the one. I mean, it's in his name for God's sake. But still, if you think about it, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that he isn't the one, but that Agent Smith is. You see, according to the movies, the one doesn't need to be a willing part of their destiny, so we've got no reason to expect that Agent Smith would know this, nor that his fate would be predestined for him. Plus, he also fits other aspects of the role. We're told that the one would be born from within the Matrix, and when we look at Neo, that technically isn't the case. I mean, he's born of flesh and blood and just put into the tube, he's plugged in. But Agent Smith, he most definitely is born of the Matrix. Plus, let's not forget that Agent Smith leaves the Matrix. I mean, how the hell is that even possible? That's the sort of ability that you'd expect the one to do. Plus, when you think about it, he does convert everyone within the Matrix from being the many into the one by taking control of them. It's a pretty trippy fan theory when you think about it, isn't it? Number 7, the NAVI aren't native to Pandora. Avatar. Now, I'm not gonna lie here, this theory definitely takes the stance of, well, the humans ain't that bad when you think about it, they were just doing what somebody else was doing, and that just definitely isn't the case here, but still, there is a lot of evidence to suggest that the NAVI, even though they might look like the natural inhabitants of this world, well, that might not be the case. So in the film as we saw it, the biggest assholes that Earth has to offer rock up and start mining for a rather ludicrously named resource and kick the locals to the curb. However, this fan theory dictates that as the NAVI aren't that similar to the native animals that we see on the planet and are instead much more human-like in appearance, that they are actually just earlier colonizers of the same place. And that the film's conflict isn't between warring races, but instead warring tribes vying for the same thing. I mean, it's most definitely not that, but still, it's interesting to take a look at regardless. Number 6, Cobb's totem is his wedding ring. Inception. Now this one actually is legitimate enough in on-screen evidence that it's actually quite surprising that Christopher Nolan hasn't come out and addressed it. But then again, this is kind of his thing with Inception, isn't it? To drive us all mad as we pick apart everything looking for clues. Cheers, mate. Throughout the film, we follow Leonardo DiCaprio's tortured Inception expert, who's haunted by the death of his wife as he assembles a crack team to infiltrate the dreams of an energy magnate's son, unbeknownst to said offspring. When our hero uses a spinning top as an example of a totem, he explains that each member of his team needs to bring such an item in order to check whether they're in reality or a dream at any given time. Now naturally, we assume that the spinning top is his totem because we see him playing with it all the time and he gets it out at the end of the film, gives it a spin, and we obviously end up with that amazing end shot of it. Kind of looks like it's falling, but it hasn't, so whether or not he's in a dream or not, we just don't know. But have you ever thought that it might actually be his wedding ring that's his totem? We see him playing with it all the time, and you might notice that when he's in reality, it disappears. But when he's in the dream, well, guess who's back? And that's pretty interesting when you think about it. Number 5, Mad Max is Road Warrior's feral kid all grown up. Fury Road. When Fury Road hit the screens, it did so with the force of a semi-truck, bludgeoning all audiences across the world with its amazing visuals, fantastic action, and its relentless chase scenes. However, while we might have been completely stunned into a stupor by its visuals and aggressiveness, there was no way for a second that we were going to buy that Mel Gibson grew up into the Mad Max of this film. I mean, he bloody wishes that he looked like Tom Hardy, but who the hell actually is this guy? Well, what if this wasn't the original Max, but instead the feral kid that he meets in Road Warrior, the second film, all grown up? Where's the evidence? Well, Max left the kid a music box, and it's one of the few things which Fury Road's Max has in his possession. Max barely talks in Fury Road, communicating mostly in grunts and assorted noises, much like the feral kid, and Max sounds unsure of his name when he finally identifies himself near the film's close because he's borrowed it from his mentor. This is actually one of those rare theories that impressed the director so much that they even came out and said, yeah, actually it all connects and makes sense, I just genuinely didn't think about it. Number 4, SKYNET needs humans, the Terminator. So when it comes to the Terminator franchise, there are fan theories everywhere, mainly because of the fact that the inconsistent internal logic within the films means that fans kind of had to plug in the gaps. But this interesting and truly unique fan theory actually serves to give purpose to the machines, who in all fairness probably should have just wiped this out in one go and be done with it. Because this is the thing, SKYNET decides when it finally gains self-awareness to obliterate half of humanity. And you got to ask yourself why it did that. Why didn't it just take over the entire planet in one fell swoop? Well, here the theory is they need this loop of cat and mouse because without it there'd be nothing to achieve, which somehow makes the battles against us all the worse. Which is, when you think about it, it's toying with humanity just for the fun of it. Number 3, the Indominus Rex is part human. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So we're told pretty early on in this 2015 blockbuster that the Indominus Rex is one of the most perfect hunters ever created, being spliced together out of the DNA of other animals, and it's improved its ruthlessness, aggressiveness, and intelligence. But some fan theories suggest that maybe it's not just animals that have been thrown into the big blender that is the DNA mixing pot, and instead also has been sprinkled with a bit of man meat. Is that what I meant to say? I mean, after all, what animal is more cruel than man? I mean, we're pretty goddamn awful, but you know what? We're also really, really good at being awful, hence why we've rewritten the laws of the jungle to suit our needs. So when you're looking for a hybrid biological weapon to sell to armed forces, you might want to slap a bit of the old human DNA in there. And if you think that this is a little too far-fetched, remember that the auction for said bioweapon takes place on an estate which also houses a human clone. The people here clearly don't seem to mind playing God, so what's to stop them from putting human DNA into the mix, thereby explaining the monster's vastly superior intellect? Number 2, Caleb is also an android, Ex Machina. Now, much has been written about Alex Garland's Ex Machina, so much so that the film kind of almost is very similar to Ava in that it's picked apart with great scrutiny. However, what if Ava wasn't the only android being treated as such, as this fan theory suggests that Caleb is also an android, and there are actually tons of details which support this. Chief amongst them is the fact that Caleb fails to describe taste when pressed by Nathan, he's also confined to a box during his interviews with Ava, and is simply informed you when he asks Nathan the purpose of his tests. But you know what? This might be his model's special feature to understand empathy. Ava, on the other hand, doesn't have this, hence why she's very happy to just leave him there imprisoned and escape on her own. Sad times. And number 1, they're not aliens, but demons. Signs. M. Night Shyamalan's invasion film Signs is quite the bizarre thing. It's got hammy acting, it's got some terribly stilted dialogue, and some utterly pathetic evil forces to overcome, but at the end of the day, it's actually quite bizarrely entertaining to watch. I don't know why. However, one thing that we cannot excuse is, like I said, the hilarious and almost cartoonish plotline of the aliens being defeated by water. I mean, come on guys, our planet is mostly made of this stuff and it rains all the time. You'd think that this would have been on the scouting reports. But what if it's not regular water that kills him, but actually holy water? I know it sounds utterly mad, but think about it. After all, Mel Gibson is a lapsed Catholic priest, and his brother, well, he's a person that's lost faith in himself. So what if the holy water or water is imbued with these special powers because of their faith, because of their belief in themselves? Well, at least that's what this Reddit fan theory suggests. As both are having a crisis of faith, as it were, what if it's not actually aliens that are attacking them, but demons which the pair overcome with their belief in both God and themselves? I know it sounds utterly cheesy, but at the same time think about it like this. With this fan theory in place, it definitely makes the demons a little less pathetic, because an allergy to water? Come on guys, that's just rubbish. And there we go, those were 8 sci-fi fan theories that make films better. I hope that you enjoyed that, my friends, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. If you want to chat to me further about all things to do with films, TV, video games, wrestling, anything else, you can do so over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0. I hope that you're treating yourself fairly, both mentally and physically, and that you have a great day, whatever you're getting up to. Go out there and smash it, you big ledge, because as always, I've been Jules, you have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Peace.